The AEW partnership is one that, I mean, I enjoyed. I was at Slammiversary 2021, I think it was. I still got one of Sammy Callahan's thumbtacks sitting up here on my display somewhere. But how was that partnership for you? There's a lot of people that feel certain ways about it one way or another.
Excuse me. Look, I mean, I think that you look at that partnership at the time. Impact was really struggling to gain traction. We were doing our damnedest and putting out everything we could, but really struggling to find ourselves and getting Kenny Omega as Impact World Champion and getting the Good Brothers featured over there on their show. And you look at it from a business point of view, the two Kenny pay-per-views were two of the three highest pay-per-views that the company had at that point. And then even the one with Christian when he came in was also like pretty high when it came to the amount of buys. So there was definitely a lift in business. There was a lift in viewership on the TV, a massive lift in social views, and more importantly in monetization. Like anything that was Kenny Omega monetized well. And I've said this a couple times before. I think Kenny got a bad rap in the sense that the plan from day one was not for Kenny to lose the belt directly. Um, Kenny would have. Kenny wanted to. He wanted to work with Eddie Edwards. He wanted to work with Josh Alexander, but there were some restraints there. And then the other thing was, and he's never talked about it, and I'll talk about it. Like he was in such immense pain at the time. Like there was times when Kenny could barely walk. And the amount of work that it took just to get him able to go to the ring and perform. And I cite one example. Kenny was supposed to come to Nashville when we were filming in Skyway. And he was just in so much pain and so banged up, he just couldn't travel. So we came up and talked about it and giving him a week because of the tape delay, whatever it was, a week or so, 10 days, whatever it was, to kind of heal up enough. And then we filmed it in Jacksonville at Daily Place. And Kenny even just getting, and that was his title defense against Moose, Kenny's Impact World title defense against Moose. So one, I thought it was cool that we got to go shoot at a different location and got to have Tony Schiavone, who's a legend, call the match. Like, I'll be honest,
Yes.
hey, personally, the AEW relationship was cool because I got to call a match on TNT with JR, and I got to call a match on our show with Tony Schiavone. But overall, I mean, I think the relationship had its positives, including that. But to get back to the thing, Kenny was so banged up. I think they probably worked on him for 90 minutes to get him just
My
capable of
God.
going to the ring to wrestle. And I'll just never forget afterwards, Kenny almost like being frustrated and apologizing almost because it wasn't the match he wanted to have with Moose. Like he really wanted to give Moose a special kind of match. And I think they had a very good world title match, like excellent world title match. But Kenny doesn't like excellent. He wants great.
Yes.
He wants legendary, right? So look, hats off to Kenny on everything he did for us and the AEW relationship. Did it have its hindrance as far as for what some of the restraints were? Sure, and that's why it ultimately had to end. But while we were doing it, there's no question from a financial point of view, it had its benefits. And there's no question that when it came to eyeballs, buzz, and legitimacy, it certainly helped. So somebody's going to watch this and say, hey, Gamora's kissing up because he's doing business with AEW. But I said the same thing when we weren't doing business with AEW it's hard for a company at their level to work with other companies. And there's always going to be restraints. But I think overall, like, what were we supposed to do? Not do the relationship with AEW?
During the pandemic.
Right. I mean, look, I think that wrestling's evolving and growing, and I think the AEW relationship was good for Impact, and I think it helped Kenny with his storyline there and helped AEW. I think that the current, TNA relationship with WWE is a great one and is mutually beneficial, and it's one of the reasons why like I reached out about initiating that relationship. And I think what they've built there now since I've left, I think has shown to have benefits for both sides.